Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. And this is my performance review of the Jordan Why Not 0.5. It's not the 0.5 anymore, it's just the 0.5, which is, I don't know why they changed it. So this Honor the Gift colorway, which came out first, is going for 150 bucks, but the regular retail price of all the other colorways coming out is 130 bucks. So they pretty much kept it the same price as the Why Not 0.4. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. It's not available on Nike anymore. They're kind of like that very bright purple color, but it might be available on like Foot Locker. So again, affiliate links are below, but let's get it started right off with the Tracciones. So here in this colorway, we have a gum outsole. It is a solid rubber, and how is the traction performance? It's not that nice, guys. So for the first like week, the traction was not biting very well. I was sliding around a good amount. And also another thing is that it's super quiet. You know, very quiet, no squeak at all, which I don't like. I mean, of course, squeak doesn't really have anything to do with performance. You can have a very silent traction and still have a good bite, but I like to have a nice little squeak, you know. I feel like most people would agree with me, right? But anyways, yeah, so I was playing for like a week and it was not very good, and I hated playing in the shoe just because I was sliding around everywhere, right? And I was playing like, you know, right now I'm playing with the PG6, which has really good traction. And also I'm playing like the Zoom Separate, which is right there. I was playing in the MB1 and also the Harden Volume 6, which have very nice tractions. Of course, they're top tier tractions. And comparing it with those, which I was playing pretty much at the same time with, the 0.5 was not very good, right? But then I kept playing with it and it started breaking, and the bikes seemed to get a little bit better, but still not top tier, right? So if you're playing on a clean court, you should be okay. Like I said, it's not the best bite, but I guess it's not terrible once you break it in, right? And also, if you're playing on a dusty court, it's just really bad. It's weird because, I mean, it doesn't really seem to pick up dust, but then when I was playing on a dusty setting, it would just like slide out. And then when I wiped, it wouldn't really like get a good bite, you know, just maybe like 1 or 2 good stops, and then it picked up dust very quickly, I'm guessing, after that. Or maybe it was just this traction pattern with the nubs was weird, and then like on a dusty like surface, it would just slide out a little bit, right? One good thing about it though is that the slide out was never dangerous, right? It was just a little bit of a slide out, but you know, I want a very good bite. You know, I want to feel very quick and responsive in my basketball shoes. So that was definitely really annoying. If you don't mind that and you don't really need like a really good bite, but then it's a very, I guess, like consistent not good bite with the 0.5, then you should be fine. But if you want really good traction, definitely stay away from this shoe. Also here in the middle of the outsole, we have a plastic midfoot chain plate, and of course it is fully decoupled, right? And it kind of like comes up into this spike on the lateral side, and we have a nice like little zigzag pattern here on the medial side. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition, it feels very smooth. So here in the heel, we have a very curved shape, as you guys can see. And I guess the midsole is pretty much fully exposed, besides I guess this little spike here. And then here in the forefoot, we have a very curved shape and a good amount of forefoot flex, as you guys can see. So overall, heel to toe transition is very smooth when you're running down the court. Felt very nice. All right, moving on to the cushioning setup. The cushioning setup is probably my favorite part about the shoe, right? So we have a very large volume zoom unit here in the forefoot, and it reminds me a lot of like the Jordan 35 or the Jordan 34. It feels top loaded and it feels bouncy. Of course, I wouldn't say it's as bouncy as like a full length zoom stroll unit or a forefoot zoom stroll unit like we've seen in the Kyrie Infinity or the Zoom GT Run. So it's not as bouncy as those, of course, but it still feels nice and bouncy, you know, just like the old school forefoot zoom setups, right? So forefoot feels very nice, and when you're kind of like sprinting, especially just like on your forefoot, it feels really nice and bouncy. Here in the heel, it's just Phylon, and it's not that nice. You know, there is a little bit of compression, I would say, but nothing too crazy. But it is thick enough here to where like it feels pretty good for impact protection. You know, like my heel didn't hurt all too much when I was doing heel strike. So, and then as far as the court feel goes, it feels okay. You know, so like I mentioned before, I was playing with like the Harden Volume 6 and then just switching it off with that, and then like the Why Not 0.5. The Harden Volume 6 is really low to the ground, like super good court feel in that shoe. And now changed to this and felt a little bit higher up off the ground, but it still has pretty good court feel. It's just the Hardens have really good, crazy court feel. Of course, it's not as bad as like LeBron's or anything like that. I would say it's just like maybe a little bit better than average for court feel. So overall, I feel like most people will enjoy this cushioning setup. If you think like, you know, the Kyrie Infinity or the Zoom GT Run is a little too much, but you still want to feel zoom and you still want to feel that bounce in the forefoot, then this is a very good alternative. Just because, you know, like in the Zoom Separate, we do have a forefoot zoom unit, but it's just that the skinny rectangular unit that goes parallel to the shoe. In this shoe, it's pretty much like the entire forefoot. So there is a cushioning setup there. Moving on to the material. So here in the Honor the Gift colorway, the material is a little bit different than the general release colorways because it has that see-through kind of like synthetic material. But here in the Honor the Gift colorway, we have like a kind of more like a canvas type of material, but it's extremely thin, right? When I first saw it, I was like, yeah, it looks kind of thick, right? And especially with all these layers. But then look, it's so thin. Conforms to your foot really, really well. And as far as like coziness goes, of course you won't get much of that just because it's a really, really thin material, but I really liked it on foot. I really had no problems with it. And then here in the midfoot, it stays extremely thin. And just, I don't know what it is, but with this like corduroy material on the tongue, it feels very nice. As far as the overall padding goes though, I mean, the corduroy material like here on the bottom half of the tongue feels nice. You know, it feels a little cozy here. And then here on top of the tongue, there's not a whole lot of padding. But it is a half booty construction tongue. It's basically like a 2-layer material. So that feels nice and it does improve the overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we have it's kind of like a double material as well, reminiscent to like the Why Not 0.2. So we have this kind of like outer material, and then we have this inner material with this kind of like heel tab, which comes up a good amount, which of course does make the shoe very easy to put on. So there is an adequate amount of padding, I would say. Not a whole lot on the side, but it's just mostly here in the back of the heel. So I was very surprised. I mean, for 150 bucks, the quality is really bad, right? As you guys can see, like this synthetic material feels very bad for quality. And then this like synthetic felt material here in the forefoot and also here in the heel feels extremely cheap as well. But I had no problems with it like on foot. It feels really, really thin, very, very minimal, contrary to how it looks. So for performance, I really liked it, but for quality, especially for 150 bucks, not the best. All right, moving on to the fit. I went true to size and it fits me really well, right? So lengthwise, my toes go pretty much right to the edge of the shoe. It's a pretty snug fit, which I liked, and the width is around normal, maybe a little bit narrow. So overall, it's very, very nice for me. If you have a wide foot or you want a roomier fit, I would suggest going up half a size. And then overall here in the midfoot, it felt nice. When I tightened the laces up, I had no problems with lockdown or fit. All right, moving on to the support and lockdown. Support and lockdown was very good, right? So as far as lateral containment goes, as you guys can see here in the forefoot, we have the foam coming up right here, and also we have a little bit of extra material. I mean, this doesn't really do anything, it's pretty flimsy feeling, but of course you're covered with this foam. And then here in the midfoot, the foam comes up a little bit, and especially here in the heel, and we have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment, you're good to go. And as far as width goes, for lateral stability, it's not the widest shoe, but it does protrude out a little bit here, as you guys can see, for the foam and the rubber outsole. So we have a kind of a wide base. So lateral stability was good here in the 0.5 as well. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe. I mean, it's a really, really light shoe. I love how it feels on foot. I'm guessing like what, 11, 12 ounces? 11.71 ounces, really, really light. Let's check the other pair. 11.64 ounces, right? So, I mean, for a why not, that's really, really light. And the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So yeah, I mean, 11.6 ounces is very, very light. Does it feel light? Yes, it feels really light, extremely minimal, especially with this material. I really liked how it felt. Does it feel responsive though? Not really, just because I had a not so good experience with the traction. If the traction was good, it would be a very responsive shoe, and also a very minimal feeling shoe, and also a little like explosive just because of that forefoot zoom unit. So that definitely is a bummer. I definitely do wish the traction was better. All right, moving on to the ventilation. As far as the airflow goes, there's not a whole lot of airflow through this like canvas material, but with this corduroy material, as you guys can see through this tongue, there are a lot of holes, which does allow for a lot of airflow. I mean, overall, it feels pretty nice and cool. I mean, just because, like I said, this material is extremely thin, it doesn't really keep in heat all that well. So for ventilation, it was pretty damn nice. Moving on to the aesthetics, I like it. You know, I actually kind of like it kind of grew on me as far as the overall design of Russell Westbrook's line. It's very chaotic with a lot of spikes and lots of different layers and materials. And, you know, it's kind of like his look now, which I like it. I love this colorway as well. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, I really like the shoe, but I didn't. And as you guys could have guessed, that's because of the traction. And traction is the most important thing to me. Like, if a shoe has everything good, like the materials, like I said, the weight was good, cushion I really liked, support was very good, it fit me very well, right? So it pretty much checks everything besides the traction. And I mean, the traction wasn't terrible, right? It was good, but I wanted it to be top tier, you know, like the MB1 or the Zoom Separate or like the Curry 9, the Harden Volume 6. They all have top tier tractions, and I would rather just play in those over the Why Not 0.5 because of that, right? And like I said, when you do need to break it in, and once you break it in, it does get a little bit better, but you know, it's not to what I would like. So because of that, I don't like it as much, you know. But like I said, if you don't need traction, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't need that much traction. Maybe if you like just like go straight to the hoop or you post up a lot, maybe that would be a reason why you don't need traction as much. So if you don't need traction as much, this shoe is very nice. Everything else about the shoe is really, really good. But of course, if you do need traction, yeah, stay away from the shoe. But anyways, that about concludes my review of the Why Not 0.5. That definitely is a bummer just because the Why Not 0.4 had really good traction. But anyways, if you guys do want to get it, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.